Hey everybody, and welcome to Psych Student Reacts. Today I decided that we are going to do narcissism. So I just looked up narcissist on TikTok, and we're basically gonna just take a look at some of the top videos, basically with the hashtag narcissist, and kind of see what happens. And of course, as always, I'm going to comment after or during each one. Anyways, before I start, thank you to all of the creators that I will be featuring in this episode. Obviously, anybody who's in the top, their videos are probably most watched, and for a good reason. So, with that being said, let's get started. Oh, I don't have sound on. Hold on. Sorry for this mild interruption, but I realized that my sound is not on. There we go. Okay. Okay, at first I was confused. I'm just going to be honest. At first I was confused, and I'm like, well, like, the character, the female character, I've known her character in another show before who was very narcissistic. So I was a little confused at, like, who they were trying to portray as, like, the narcissistic character. But definitely, I think the point that they're making, without looking into the comments, basically, is the gaslighting. I've come into recent contact with somebody who's diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And I have to say, like, I've been around them off and on occasionally for the last 3 years. And I've obviously been able to notice some of these signs and symptoms. Now, I already knew that this person was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, among other personality disorders at the same time. However, it wasn't until I started studying psychology, and especially whenever I started really studying personality disorders, and narcissistic personality disorder was one that I could absolutely, without a doubt, check off the diagnostic criteria for in this person. Obviously, this person's already been diagnosed, so the work had already been done, but it made it a lot easier for me to be more aware of these types of behaviors and why this person has constantly been the center of many of the family drama and the family issues this person has created, essentially. And for me to have stepped back and to actually observe it, and not involve myself, just because I know that it's not really fair for me to be able to get involved in a family matter like that. But sorry, I got a random phone call. Okay, but with that being said, the gaslighting, it happens. They will usually come around, and then they'll pick an issue. They will pick a type of topic and make it seem like the other person is the one who's doing it. And then but all in reality, it's them. And that's almost what they do. It's the projection. It's the projection of their behaviors, because, like, they know that they're doing it. Well, they probably don't know actively that they're doing it, but they're doing it. But the only way for them to make sense of it or to justify it is to accuse other people of also doing it. Or something along those lines, obviously. Like, I'm just saying, like, what it looks like. Anyways, moving on.
Here is the number one way that you can detect that you are in the presence of a narcissist. And please remember, it doesn't matter if it's your family members, mother, father, sister, cousin, auntie, grandparents. It doesn't matter if it's a friend, a childhood friend, a coworker. It doesn't matter if it's a lover, a ex-lover, or current lover. All narcissists abuse in the same manner. They operate out the same playbook. It's all textbook behavior. The number one way that you can tell that you're in the presence of a narcissist is triangulation. What is triangulation? Triangulation is the art of one person, one party, and it could be a group, but let's just say one person, one party, a narcissist. He or she will put one person against the other unknowingly to cause these two people to fight. In your
In my own personal experience, and obviously we're going to get back to this, but in my own personal experience, this person would be really nice to your face. You would have the best time with them. You wouldn't even guess that they struggled with narcissism at first interactions. Like the first maybe 3, 4, 5 interactions might go really, really smooth. But you have to be absolutely careful with the things that you're saying and the things that you're doing, because this person will more than likely take those actions and those words, no matter what context they were put, they will take them out of context and they will tell somebody else, and it makes you look like a completely different person. And they will create drama out of that. And again, this is just one of the symptoms of narcissism. But yes, so sometimes they don't really intend on doing it. They just think about it in their head, and then they're like, oh, hey, by the way, so-and-so did this and said this and whatever. And then it comes out like, well, there was no context to that. It's so much different whenever you're actually like, well, what were you guys talking about to bring that up, or something like that. There's no real reason for these types of things. It's just the way that it pops into their head and how they remember it, because they genuinely remember their own delusions.
childhood, your parents will play you against your siblings. They'll pit y'all against each other. Your mama.
Okay, I'm gonna preface this. My mother is not diagnosed narcissistic personality disorder. She hasn't really been. I don't think she's been diagnosed with anything other than depression clinically. However, I will say that she does show a lot of signs of narcissistic personality disorder. But again, that's not my job to diagnose. It just helps me and my sisters be able to communicate with her better, knowing that that's a possibility. Anyways, my mother, and she did this a lot with, even with my other sisters, and even here recently, she will try to compare my sisters to me or something, some scenario, and they'll try to compare it to my own scenario or something like that. And obviously you can't do that. Even if you're siblings, you can't compare your siblings, your children, to your other children. They're all different people. They all have different hobbies and different likes and different preferences. You can't assume that their choices are going to be the same. But I digress. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely another, that goes right into it. Like I said, they don't even really mean to. That's just their way of communicating. When they're like, oh, well, so-and-so allowed me to do this, or so-and-so let me do, I don't know. I'm trying to be really vague from my own experiences, but it's kind of hard. We're just gonna move on.
Gossip about your sibling to you, and then your mom will go back over here to your sibling and gossip about you to your sibling because she wants to see her children fight. This creates insecurities and competitiveness within her children, and this carries on into the adulthood. And this is toxic. No healthy parent will want to see their children fighting each other. But a toxic, narcissistic parent or family member, they love drama. They create chaos amongst the children and the cousins and the grandchildren. That is triangulation. If you have a toxic friend, this friend will gossip to you about somebody, a mutual friend or somebody else. But what you don't know is that this same toxic friend will go behind your back and tell all your business to the very same person they was gossiping to you about, playing you against this person. That is triangulation.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, let's get to the good part, the lover. Ladies, tried to get you to fight his side chick. Matter of fact, he pit you against his mama, his sister, his...
And that's another thing, because these are usually also the same type of relationships that you might have experienced some sort of SA with. And sometimes instead of fighting them, they might try to get you to have sex with them. I was once in a relationship. I'm very open about my healing journey, and at one point I was in a relationship that was absolutely the worst thing for me. It was the worst relationship ever. 0 out of 10, don't recommend. But I learned a lot during this relationship. I learned a lot from it, for myself, and just about healthy relationships in general. Now, with that being said, this person didn't want me to fight, but this person wanted me to have sexual intercourse with people. And sometimes, like of course there was a choice, but anybody who's been in relationships like that kind of understand like the illusion of choice. But yeah, moving on.
Female cousins, these types of men...
I was getting at they're narcissists. Like those people are also narcissists. That's the whole point I was getting at.
His baby mamas even. He talks shit about you to them, and he'll talk about them like a dog to you. This is triangulation. If you're ever in the presence of anyone and they start talking shit about somebody and you have no reason to dislike the person, so you're wondering why are they coming to you talking bad about them, beware. That's a red flag, and they are setting you up to be to go against this person they're talking about, and they're going to go to this person and talk about you. And this is very much biblical. Remember with Adam and Eve, it was the serpent that played them against each other. God is against triangulation, which is discord. Triangulation will have you in jail or DEAD. Stay away from people who do this.
So yeah, I mean, great like awareness in this, and really spreading the way that you can identify this type of behavior, because this type of behavior is like a threat. And I know a lot of, depending on where you live, the idea behind mental health is viewed so differently. Even where I currently live, like there is still such a stigma regarding mental health. They don't believe that addiction is related to mental health issues. Like they don't believe that there's connections to that, even though research shows. They don't believe in science where I live. I'm just saying. And that's why I'm trying to create this type of awareness. I want to create this type of education so that people can actually be aware of this stuff, because there are links to all of this. There are links between mental health and addiction. Mental health is more than just being sad and being depressed and suicide. It's so much more than that, and it's so much more complex. And this is why I'm so passionate about psychology, because psychology can explain a lot of these issues and how we can come to possible solutions, and how many different solutions that there can be, because we have so many different theoretical orientations. There's so many different theoretical approaches to how we can look and identify and solve these problems. That's my little mini soapbox for the day.
Projection. This is where they take something they did and put it onto you. Number 3 is guilt tripping. This is where they make you feel sorry for them or make you feel like you owe them.
Oh yeah.
Number 4 is the silent treatment. This is not innocent. This really tears down people's self-esteem, and that's what it's meant to do. Number 5, feign ignorance. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I'm really a good person. That must have been a mistake.
Yep.
Number 6, playing victim. 7, blame shifting. This is where they take what you were trying to explain to them about themselves and they flip it onto you, somehow making it your fault. And number 8, throwing temper tantrums like a 5-year-old in a grocery store.
Okay, so this is another good one. There's a lot of examples in here of some, like I can take from the most recent example that I know. In this example, Like the last big, huge outburst. This is in reference to the person that I know is diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. They did all of those: the gaslighting, the victim, playing the victim, then blaming others, like trying to take something that was actually their fault and turn around and make, like, blame the other person. All of that happened in this last huge outburst that they caused. And then during those outbursts, they ended up injuring themselves further. And this is a common occurrence. This is even common in other cluster B personality disorders, such as borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. So it's something that all plays in with each other. And these people can be dangerous. They're so unpredictable sometimes. Like, they're so predictably unpredictable, if that makes any sense. Like, you know that they're going to do something crazy, but you don't know what, because you never know. And in this in this example, this situation that happened, like, they ended up breaking like their arm or something. But like, the reason why that happened was because they were trying to basically force entry into a house that was not theirs, and they were not welcome. Like, living in the state that I live in, she's lucky she didn't get shot, because but no one had a gun, because yeah. But that's what I'm saying. This type of behavior is so dangerous, and these, like, for us to have to know all of these signs and, like, indications that somebody could be narcissistic. I'm not saying that these people are bad, like, but they do need help. And that's the hard part, is because healing has to be a choice that you make for yourself, and it has to be genuine. You have to be intentional about healing. But the sad part is that people with narcissistic personality disorder struggle with genuine empathy. They don't. I'm not saying that they're not empathetic, or that they don't have the ability to be empathetic, but they almost, like, their brain is almost programmed to automatically be defensive and overly defensive, even if they're wrong. And like I said, any time that you go through mental health struggles, it's really hard to, you have to come to that moment where you're ready, because it's not easy. Like, healing, sometimes it's really hard and it's really ugly and it's just a struggle. That's why a lot of people end up relapsing whenever they're on the road to recovering from addiction. So it's not, I like to say that healing is never linear. It's never going to be like, step 1, complete. Step 2, complete. It's never going to be like that. It's going to be like this. And sometimes it's like this. Sometimes healing goes in cycles, especially if specific days of the year mean a lot to you. It's normal, and it happens a lot in grief. You can memorialize a specific day of an event that was traumatic or that caused grief. You can memorialize that day. I'm not saying that you can use that day as an excuse to be, like, depressed, but you can memorialize that day. Kind of getting off topic now. But bottom line, narcissistic personality disorder, and really any personality disorder, there are types of therapy that can help with these, and they can gradually bring they can help that person build self-awareness, but they have to continuously stick with the therapy and utilize the help and the resources. Like borderline personality disorder, dialectical behavior therapy is apparently really good for it, because of the added resources that come with dialectical behavior therapy. So you have to utilize the resources. You have to utilize what you have to help you. And you have to be serious about that. That goes with anything, but it's just harder for people with personality disorders like that. Anyways, moving on.
Like,
don't have to put, you put you on the spot. Like, I don't. What do you mean?
Like, you don't even.
No. How about no? I would just walk out. After someone said that to me, I would just walk out. Just why waste your time with someone who's just gonna. No. That's. I went through that. A lot of people have. I know I'm not the only one. You are better than that. Anybody, if you're out there and there's somebody who talks to you like this, especially if you let them talk to you like this on a daily, just walk out. Just straight up walk out. They don't even deserve an explanation, and it doesn't even matter what they tell those other girls at that point. Just saying, you're worth more.
Baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, you put in my heart for lockdown, for lockdown, oh lockdown. Yo, you sweet life and.
I haven't used any of those, but I can only imagine. Especially, just saying no. Because, I mean, obviously people who are narcissists, um, they kind of put themselves on a pedestal in a way. Like they're the ones who deserve the apology. Like they deserve to be apologized to. They, they feel like they're above. And whenever you tell them no, it kind of doesn't work. Now, yeah, I wanted to acknowledge this comment. This comment says actions that hurt narcissists, no contact, blocking them, ignoring them, and becoming completely unattainable. And it does, but that's probably the healthiest version to do, especially if, like, it's not serving you. If that relationship or that connection or that friendship is not serving you, don't waste your time on it. That takes me back to, I believe it was the second video that we watched. It doesn't matter who it is in your life, because these type of people can be dangerous. They can uproot your life if you let them. And the power of influence is so much more than you realize. Whenever you hear people talk about guilty by association, they're not lying. Guilty by association is a real thing that people struggle with, because they constantly choose to stay in this cycle, this pattern. They won't get out of the circle of friends that's constantly surrounding them and reflecting their bad decisions. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah. So you can cut them off, and it's not going to it's a boundary is what it is. If that's what you gotta do, then do it, because your life is your life and you control your life, meaning you can control the influence that you surround yourself with. All right, let's do one more video.
Yo, the way a narcissist apologizes is the dumbest thing ever. They'll do something crazy, right? You'll be like, yo, that was really low what they said to me. I can't believe they said that to me. I'm not talking to them for a few days, whatever. And you're just kind of ignoring them. Instead of apologizing, what they'll do is they'll cater to something that you like. They'll be like, oh, did you see the Lakers game last night? Or you hear that new song? I heard a song of your favorite artist. Did you hear it? Meanwhile, you're like, yo, do you remember the last thing you just said to me? Are you going to act like that didn't happen? And that's what they do. They act like whatever they said, that pissed you off, was nothing. And the way that they come back is they come back and warm up to you by doing something that you normally like. Either they'll make your favorite dish or ask you if you want to watch your favorite show, like, oh, the new episode's out. You want to come watch that?
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, do you remember what you just said the other day? Like, I can't believe you're just acting like that didn't happen. And that's what they do. They act like what they said didn't happen. It's their way of easing back in without actually having to take accountability for what they said to you. They know that if they cater to something that you like or something you like to do, that you'll just brush over it and just forget about what they said. That's their way of apologizing.
This also brings up such a good point. If you've ever had parents that, like, for me, the realization that my mother wasn't just crazy was realizing that a lot of the behaviors that she did whenever I was a child were actually like the biggest signs of mental illness. And one of those actions being buying your love. A lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but I know there are others who have had parents who, whenever they try to get into your life, they try to buy you things. They try to buy you everything that you want and help you do everything that you want to do. So that way you'll be happy with them and, you know, you won't run away or you won't choose to go live with your father or et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, a lot of parents, or not a lot of parents, like I said, but I know there's others. Some people do that. And I think that that's one of the biggest signs of narcissism, actually, because like if you get mad, you know, like, and because also these parents who do this are usually the parents who might have said something that they obviously know was not okay, but they stand by it anyways. And then they never apologize for it because they focus on buying this person's love again. So yeah, that's another really, really big idea. Also reminds me of another personal experience that I had. And in this case, I hadn't known of any of the bad things that were being said about me at this point just yet. I found out about this person talking about me behind my back. We don't even talk on the daily. This person was apparently saying that we were like besties. And I'm like, the last time I talked to this person was at Thanksgiving. That was it. And this, you know, but this person was really telling people like, oh yeah, like I love her so much. She's like my bestie. And that's not at all the case. But then also, at the same time, this person was also saying things like that I was faking my childhood trauma. And I'm like, how? But that was after the fact. So this is how I know that this person was doing things or saying things or whatever behind my back. Because this person gave me a designer bag. Just gave me. Yeah, a designer bag. I mentioned, I was like, oh, I really like your bag. I love Coach. Oh, I didn't mean to mention their name. But yeah, I was like, I love that brand. And they were like, oh, do you want this? And I'm like, no, it's fine, thanks. And then she's like, no, really, here, take it. I'm going to clean it out. I need to get a new bag anyway. Okay, that's cool. It's a designer bag. Thanks. It was so awkward. And I was kind of confused. My mother-in-law and my husband were there, and I was like, yeah, it was a little weird. But yeah, and then it was literally like a couple of days later that stuff popped off, and it was interesting, to say the least. But anyways, this episode was about narcissism, if you didn't know. And if you are just now tuning in, don't worry. Or I don't know why you would just now be tuning in. I'm obviously not paying attention. I'm so used to being live, and these aren't live. But if this is your first episode, I suggest going and checking out the first episode of Psych Student React. Obviously, these will start coming out weekly, And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. What was your biggest takeaway from how a narcissist apologizes? Excuse me, or just narcissism in general. Like, what's your takeaway? What's your experience? Do you have any experiences with people who are narcissistic? Please share your story below. Also, if you have a specific topic that you would like me to react to on TikTok, then let me know. Drop it in the comments, and I will possibly get to work on it. Yeah. But meanwhile, thanks so much for watching, and tune in next week for episode 3. Bye.